Albin. I'm the host and the founder of the Jazz Confusion
My
Power
name
Hour.
is Dion Parson, and I'm honored to share my passion of music with you, our listening audience, through my cultural heritage.
Things can change for you too. If you want to be brand new, that is absolutely possible.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Jazz Confusion Power Hour. I'm Albin. I'm your host, and I'm the founder of the Power Hour. And the Power Hour was developed so that you can get behind the mind of the artist, get to know the artist, not just the music that you love, but understand the process of how they create that music and get to know them a little bit more personally. So when you listen to that music, it'll enhance your understanding of the artistry and how much dedication and work goes into producing that music. So you get to hear not only that story, but how the artist goes about creating that music and what their life is like as an artist every day. The Power Hour broadcasts weekly on the Source TV radio network, WTSN, Washington, D.C. We broadcast live and streaming 4K and Dolby True HD. Source is a nonprofit, a 501c3 radio station supporting jazz and Black and minority micro businesses to help those businesses build scale to get on finance industry radar and ultimately create and increase the generational transfer of wealth within the family and the community. We depend on listener contributions and artists who also support us because we support those artists. They contribute to the station too. And because it's mutual support. And then we have sponsors in addition to help cover the cost of broadcasting. So we depend on our listeners to also make donations. So remember, you can make a donation right at the station, and any donation you make, remember, is always tax deductible. Okay. The Power Hour has had over 125 amazing artists, well-known and becoming well-known, musicians and vocalists. Some of the artists on the Power Hour include Eric Roberson, Mesa, Brian Culbertson, Paul Brown, Raheem Devon, Niels Jipner, Reagan Whiteside, Eric Darius, Greg Adams, Tom Brown, Costello, Pieces of a Dream, Kamasi Washington, Kiko Matsui, Kim Scott, Mesa, Figo Cavalieri, Marie Antoinette, Dwelle, Jay Brown, Miss Monet, Yulia Blake Aaron, Terry Wollman, H.E.R, Celine Johnson, Aaron Stevenson, Mavis Swan Poole, Cecily. I mean, I can go on and on. We've had so many great artists. We've also had Jeff Beck, Eric Burden. We've had Mickey Howard. We just had a wonderful array. We have Billy Ocean. Annie Lennox has been on too. So, the Power Hour always brings you the best that we can find in jazz and jazz crossover. And tonight's no exception. We have a returning guest for the second time on the Power Hour. And he was also a special guest on Hitmakers, the other show that I host on Source TV radio network. He's a new generation creating new iterations of classical soul music. Few artists have generated such immediate excitement as our special guest host tonight. His voice, a gritty, full-throated sound reminiscent of soul music legends such as Al Green and Otis Redding, coupled with a radiant spirit and a completely natural authenticity. He's winning the hearts and minds of all who see him globally. He's worked with Steve Cropper from the legendary Stax Records, who was a musician, songwriter, and producer, has worked with the legendary Memphis Soul Greats, and Steve Cropper gave him a thumbs up after a joint writing session in Nashville. And to his intriguing life story and multifaceted achievements as a music artist, entrepreneur, philanthropist, you have a very special guest tonight. His recent LP, which we're going to spend a lot of time on tonight, Back to Us, was recorded in Nashville, Tennessee, a stunning 11-song collection featuring sparkling originals and a handful of impressive covers. Excuse me. Excuse me. He had special guests appearing on the record, including the Monophonics, Ruby Amafu, Sam Ashworth. It's a major statement of the enduring relevance of classic R&B in a contemporary context. So, with all that said, please welcome our special guest tonight, the wonderful Alex Harris. Welcome, Alex.
Thank you, Mel. Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. And you've been the most host on the show of anybody. Being that this is your second time and 3 times on the station, and there's good reason for it. And again, whatever I say about you is true. It may be hard for you to listen to, but the reality is that you filled a very important niche, and you know there are so many Southern soul singers, and I know that you refer to yourself as Americana soul, but the great Al Green was one of them, and
Right.
you've taken this legendary sound coming out of the South made it contemporary and vital and vibrant, and there's few out there like you, and what the traditions that you're bringing to the contemporary world and to young people is really important. So it's a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Well, let's start out. I always like to start out with a special guest and telling everybody what's cooking, what's going on for the rest of 2024, and what are you thinking about doing in 2025?
Well, what's going on for the rest of 24? I'm working to get a song out now. My team and I record a song, and then we also are preparing for our tour in 2025 that starts. It's slated to start in February. We have a few dates in January they're going to be doing, but tour kicks off. I'll be doing that tour with Avery Sunshine,
Wow.
at least part of it. And then we have other dates where I'll be doing with some other artists that we are excited to announce a little bit later.
Oh, that's wonderful. And do you know the cities you'll be going to? Do you have any idea?
Oh yeah. We're going to be going to, let me just pull up some of the ones that's already locked in. Give me 1 second. It's going to be Atlanta, Nashville, Chicago, New York, Philadelphia. We're going to be hitting some really key
Anything in
cities.
DC?
Yes, we are going to be doing some in DC as well. I don't have
Okay,
it.
you got to get me press passes. I want to come watch it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I'll write a review of it. It goes into the city paper.
Awesome.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
so you love that.
yeah. It'll be great. I've always wanted to see you perform. We're going to talk about your performances a little bit later. But that's a great tour. I'm working with Avery Sunshine. It's terrific.
Yeah, we're going to be doing quite a few dates together. I think 17 of the dates are going to be with her, and then we're going to be doing other dates as well.
Well, when you get the posters for the different events, send them to me, and we'll put them up in the station.
I
And
will
we'll help.
get them over to you after the show. I mean, at some point tonight.
Good, because we'll help sell tickets.
Yes.
A lot of the people tuning in. We already have quite a bit of people tuning in. We're over 50,000 already, and we just started our show. So it'll be we can help generate some ticket sales for you.
Fantastic. We would love that. Please come out.
I don't want to cover ground we covered before, but I think it's important that you tell everybody a little bit about how you came to be the vocalist you are, and it all started with your family. So why don't you talk a little bit about music in your household? And you were raised in a small town, like 20,000 people, something like that.
No, much less. 2,500.
2,500.
Yeah, to the traffic lights.
Oh my God. Well, I want you to talk a little bit about how your family and the environment helped, or how it helped you develop.
Yeah, so Manchester is a small town. It's 2,500. It grew to about 45, and now it's back at 25 after the factory burned down. But yeah, 3 traffic lights, family of 8, 5 boys, 3 girls. So children, preacher and teachers, and we grew up. Music in our house, faith, education were the 3 pillars that that really our focus. If we were not playing music, we were doing school, or we were at church. We played music in the backyard on the with our first. It started with the buckets before we got instruments, and stringing, using the rubber bands. And then we would to make our first guitar. My brother did. One of my brothers did, and so music always shared with folks that was part of who we are as innately, and we didn't grow up listening to a lot of music genres outside of gospel. Most of it was gospel, quartet and chorus stuff, and then that's what became the foundation of our musical journey. My siblings and me.
Did you sing in the church choir?
Oh yeah. Well, we were the church choir. My dad and mother's church. They started. We became the musicians as we got a little bit old. Not too old. We were only like 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. And we started our being the music or the worship band or praise band, and so we did have a small choir before we came on. We came along, and then some of the other younger children in the church, we became the music. And then from that, a lady came to visit the church, and we were singing. And the reason why it became the inspiration for us to start a group, because she asked if we would come to her church. And in the South, all the churches have what they call a program, and we went to the program, and she wanted us to come to her program, and it was called Powell Baptist Church, Powell, Powell Baptist Church, and in the Toppleton area, which even smaller than Manchester. This was literally a pass through. But they did have, a couple of churches, as in the South, the churches almost on every corner. But we got the invitation to come to that service that she was, putting together, or that program she was putting together. And as a singer, said, "Oh, we should start a group." And it was, and so we started. We had the idea, and we told our parents. And at first, my dad said, "Oh, maybe you guys can become the Harris brothers." And so we were thinking. I remember in the room, and we were trying to think of at least the older brothers were trying to come up with a group name. And so my dad had the idea. He said, "All of y'all have a name, so you can be A Boys." And so we end up with A Boys. And then later they said, "You should add the girls to the group." And so then we became A Boys and Girls. And then we got a little bit older, teenagers, and then even start college. We said, well, we didn't like being the A Boys, and we didn't want to be A Boys to Men. So we said we were in Ohio doing an event, and we had the name changed to A7. And 7 represents Present God. So now if you Google, you'll see stuff about A7. So yeah, and that's kind of our history from Manchester and our foundation.
Did you play any musical instrument at all?
Oh, me in the group? Yeah. I started out being a lead singer and playing drums, and then one of my brothers started to play drums, and I was be out front. But the group, did most of the lead singing, but one of my brothers became he referred to himself as second chair lead singer, but he did a lot of co-singing with me, or he'll start it off, I'll finish the song. And then we would trade off when we were younger, and then he started to play keys, and our other brothers started to play drums, and then I started playing guitar, acoustic guitar, and piano. Well, it was actually piano, then acoustic guitar. Yeah.
Can you read music?
I did learn to read. That's how I started to play piano. I learned how to read. I don't practice a lot, unfortunately. So mostly it has been by, ear or what I hear, and then I play it. Yeah.
All right. And did you play any music? Did you belong to the school band or?
No, this was homeschooled, so no, we didn't have a band.
Other
than our group band, we didn't have.
Sounds like there weren't enough kids to have a band.
No, I don't think so. Only the rhythm section in one of the brothers loved to play the flute, but yeah.
Well, you have a strong educational background. Why don't you just tell everybody briefly about your background?
Yeah, sure. So as I said, faith, education, and music part of our foundation. So quite naturally, that being part of our foundation and exposure, we pursued, including all of us, higher education. In my um, education pursuit, I took interest in not only studying classical vocal um, during my time in college, undergraduate, but I also pursued psychology for a degree. I actually became a minor, and that's the story behind that. And my major was sociology and human services. Well, simply because I was one class away from getting double major, and somehow in my planning, which was crazy, I ended up taking two statistic classes, and one was actually, well, both were required if I wanted to get the dual degree, and I just ended up having enough hours and credits to do that. But I ended up getting the minor in it minus the one class because um, my advisor said, "What are you doing? Try to kill yourself?" Because they're very intense courses. Anyone that know about statistics, and one was for psychology, and then the other was part of the requirements, and I end up obviously just doing the requirement, which I end up with a minor in psychology as opposed to double major. So
All right. Look, the reason I wanted to talk about your education is because you came out of this small town. So,
yeah, that was very few of us, in general. I mean, that end up pursuing higher education. I end up, my getting a terminal degree is what is referred to often, which is a doctoral degree in organizational leadership. Because in the interim between my brothers and my doing solo, I did some of what I call creative consulting. Never stopped writing, never stopped recording, but was trying to figure out the path in which I would take personally, and genre, style, everything. And so I was always intrigued on producing or advising, would always end up in these really unique situations where, I'm either advising because we got exposed to, very positively, we're exposed to really great learning opportunities young. So graduating from school, undergraduate, that is, having opportunities to be at the table in the room. And so that led to my getting that, which took it, led me down the pathway to pursue my doctoral degree. And then I actually finished because didn't want to start something I didn't finish, which benefits me greatly now because of my foundation, and it helps out a lot in the knowledge that I've obtained through that process. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Given the diversity of your education, why did you still stay with music and not move into a different field?
Because I've always believed, and I always even share this today when I either lecture or speak or whatever, the opportunity presents itself, is that for me, music, I think everyone should really pursue what they feel they are called to, and their talents are good, and they have talent in that particular space, what they feel they're called to. I think that's a discerning space. You feel called to something, but can you sing on in pitch? So if you think you're calling, and that's kind of like the test to say, okay, yeah, this might be something for me. And then at what level? Is it for local? Is it for regional? Is it for national, international, whatever, global? You have to, explore all of that. And so once I discovered that, this is my calling, this want to pursue it, and really push forward as far as it will take me. Education was something that I'm very intrigued with, as well as learning and, you know, different things. And also I'm a huge um, uh, 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 advocate in some way of institutionalized education. Not saying that that's something that everyone should pursue, because some people's calling is not that direction or don't have any interest in doing so, and I think that's awesome as well. But for me, it was something that I really wanted to pursue, and it was really great thing. So I pursued it, and I'm very grateful that the doors that were open for me. You know, a lot of private colleges and universities I was blessed to be enrolled into, and be very successful in that space. And I use it, I utilize it. I don't believe in falling back on one or the other. People say, get your education, that you get it so you can fall back. Well, I think you have to continue to fall forward if you feel called to something. So I never pursued education with the idea or the thought to fall back.
Interesting. You know, you started your career just about when a major seismic shift took place in the music industry, where record labels and AM and FM radio were no longer dominant in
Right.
terms of artistic development and distribution. So, you know, the business side of becoming a musician, when you say it was your calling, how did you determine the business side? How did you learn that? Like, I know that you and I have a mutual friend who I love and respect, Myron Ruffin.
Yes,
And,
he's
you know, and
amazing. Shout out to
yeah,
Myron. Shout out to Suzette as well.
yeah, and Myron is part of your team. So, you know, how did you learn the business side, and how did you start to bring these people into
To
your
attract good people.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, one of my brothers and I think a few of us often would reflect on how we've been so blessed to attract good people in our lives, and um, and so I think that is no different with Myron and the host of others who have been able to contribute in some way or another to this journey of mine. And I think learning the business, as I alluded to earlier, education in a broader sense beyond the four walls was celebrated in our family. And so growing up, uh, we would attend seminars when we go to conference and conventions
Oh,
of that labels where people from representative of Sony were there. And we learned about publishing. We learned about even postman copywriting and all those things we knew as teenagers, which is also part of the reason why it's part of my curriculum and learning with my foundation today, the Arts Conservatory, because we were very, very blessed and fortunate to have parents who said that if we were going to be really strict on one hand, we're going to try to allow this freedom in the creative space of the discovery of their children, of us, to really have to blossom, right? And so that's how I became educated about it. And I then just start to thirst for knowledge. And I would pick up the phone and call anybody. We had my late cousin was in the entertainment industry who we ended up meeting when we were young. And I would ask him questions. And then uh, another friend of mine who's in the industry that we met along the way. And he was so generous with knowledge and teaching, helping with songwriting and understanding and recording. And by that time, he was recording with everybody, from Ricky Martin to CeCe Winans and everybody in between. But they were very, very kind, and that's the reason why I think, in addition to my upbringing, it really encourages me to practice humility and also give back along the way.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. You know, you've established yourself as a dynamic. You use the term Americana classic soul artist. I still call it Southern soul, but
From the
you
South,
know,
so you can say that.
what? What? I'm sorry.
I'm from the South, so that it is Southern soul.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Well,
And
Americana is that anyway. I mean, that's American roots music, So
yeah, it is
I'm just
American.
saying that. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But you already had a hit. You had the single failing for you,
Falling, yeah,
falling for you,
falling
falling
for
for
you.
you, and that peaked at number 26 on Billboard and was number one on R&B soul charts
Yes,
on indie global
yeah.
soul charts. So being a hit maker is nothing new to you. So I want to spend some time talking about your recent project, Back to Us, an LP that's out there, and you've been releasing some singles that have been doing very well on the
Thank you.
charts. So, let's begin with the name of the LP, Back to Us. How did that come about?
Yeah, that was got somewhat of a long process, as probably with a lot of artists when they're, trying to decide how to kind of come up with a title for the record to represent the body of work that's been created or and assembled after the creation of each piece. So um, this was a conversation that one of my brothers and I were going back and forth on, because I always call him, he's very creative, and he has all of us are creative in our own right, but he has a really unique sometimes approach. And whether or not he helps to come up with the title, we go back and forth, and often through that process, one of us would come up with something first. I think with frequency was, I had that idea. I was awakened and I was like, oh, frequency. And I text him and say, what do you think about this? And he was like, okay, that's cool. All right. But this one, we had a song titled Back to Us.
Mhm.
That didn't make it to the record. But maybe it'll come out as a single. And we were like, that's cool, because what I was trying to convey, and the reason why that title of that song was chosen um, for the title of the record, and also this resonated, and I sent it over to the label, and they like, okay, that's cool. I kind of like that, because we were talking about another title. But anyway, this one started to resonate with you know the team as well as the label, and so I wanted to capture not only I wanted to capture more so the spirit of the record and paying homage to my upbringing. And I think when you talk about Southern soul and our American roots music, Back to Us, brings it brings the experiences of an individual, the challenges, the celebrations. It brings it back front and center. That's number one. Number two, it also, for me, celebrate every part of me to date from the start, right? So we, as someone told me once, they said there are many, there we are many, right? Each person has many selves, and I think those selves over time, from childhood to teenage years to adulthood, and then there are many layers and experiences and selves in the adult stages of life. And so when I say back to us, there's an essence of our existence uh, that often get tucked away due to different experiences. With this record, is very dynamic in storytelling, all centered around love. But like the Don't Hide, it talks about, the importance of the embrace of everything of one of a person, right? Even though the story is told about a couple and saying, "Don't hide, give it to me." Everything about you, I love you so much, and I embrace all of that. There's nothing to hide. There's nothing to be ashamed of. I love the very essence of you and all that comes with it. Because more often than not, we want to just showcase our better selves. So back to us, back to the essence of our existence, back to everything, who we are, the evolution of our being. And that's what back to us in a more in-depth meaning has to do, and is told on a more surface level through these romantic songs, from covers like I Got Dreams to Remember, Cry to Me, Millionaire, and those are the three covers. But the other songs, We Turn to Us, uh, 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 Something Gotta Change. It's talking about the human experience and the various levels and dynamics that we go through every day, and understanding our existence, not hiding from it, and embracing it, and then willing to celebrate all the wins as well as the struggles and challenges that we have in relationships. So that's the essence of Back to Us.
We're going to talk a little bit. Excuse me. We're going to talk a little bit later about the process of putting together a project like that. But right now, I want to play one of the songs of
Okay.
the night, the first song, "Don't Hide." So why don't you tell people a little bit about "Don't Hide"?
Yes, "Don't Hide" is a song that was written. Josiah was had the idea and concept, and one of my brothers, Swag, also who's a producer on the record, um, was a partial writer on that song as well. And that song is one I just alluded to that talks about the transparency and the comfort in knowing that it doesn't matter what on a personal level I go through or another person goes through, that we can really embrace all of us, all of who we are, and don't have to feel any shame, knowing that that's part of our journey, and that's to be celebrated and not to be ashamed of.
Wonderful. Well, we're going to talk a little bit more about songwriting also in a little while. But let's start off playing Don't Hide by Alex Harris.
Thank you.
I don't need you to be perfect, baby, but I want you to be certain by me. If I leave you with my heart, will you rip it all apart? I've been giving 100, baby. Promise you will save some for me. It's a risk I'll take. We're so different in our ways. See on your phone, I'm aware of it all. Girl, no matter how hard, I'll be here through it all. So baby, don't hide, give it to me. Know your heart's fragile, baby. Don't hide, give it to me. I'll give you the love and affection, darling. Don't hide, give it to me. Know you're safe right here with me, girl. Don't hide, give it to me. Show you what it's gonna be like. Like the tears from your eyes. I know you've been hurting. Let me kiss all your scars. I'll be a fighter, just let down your guard. Things ain't always really what they are. See on your phone, I'm aware of them all. Girl, no matter how hard, I'll be here through it all. So baby, don't hide, give it to me. Know your heart's fragile, baby. Safe right here with me, girl. Give it to me. I'll show you what it's gonna be like.
That's a beautiful song. We have some comments from listeners coming in. Um, Here's one. Carla Clapton. Oh my God, so soulful, so full of love.
Well, thank you so much.
And here's another one. Terry Thomas, Al Green, Otis Redding. Wow, great soul music, the way it's supposed to be.
Thank you so much.
Here's Jean Ju, who I know. He's a good friend of mine. Beautiful song.
Oh, thanks.
And Alex Becker, great arrangement. Do you do your own arranging?
I do some of the arrangement with the musicians and music directors on all the songs.
Oh, well, you have a number of new fans coming on, and you're getting a lot. That's a lot of comments in the first song. A lot of people listen in; they don't comment, so people are really being moved by your music, which
Oh,
is kind
thank
of
you. I
nice.
appreciate it.
Yep. So let's talk a little bit more about your foundation. I know separate from music that you perform and you create, you also have a foundation. So
Yes, I do.
why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. The foundation is Arts Conservatory for Teens, and you can look more into that at artsconservatoryforteens.org. Learn a little bit more about our mission. But the organization I started 12 years ago, and as I said earlier, for those that are just joining, that when I grew up, we had access to be able to pursue and had the support to pursue our musical passions and what we felt later our calling. And our parents, we were fortunate that our parents supported that and provide, in whatever way that they could, which led to the careers that some of my siblings and I have in music, and also as a foundation for the ones who pursued other careers as well. But I wanted to provide that kind of opportunity and access to students who generally would not have accessibility, and to close that achievement gap when it comes to the journey to realize the dream, and to provide the resources of support to help that become, and through our efforts, and I say that's my team and I, over the years we've impacted now over 15,000 students through the various programs and curricula that we did in our local region,
Wow.
with the intention of creating a product that eventually someday we'll be able to license this anywhere in the world. And so we've done tremendous with our efforts and data collection, being research based with how we develop this, that helps students in various aspects of development, starting in middle school to high school. And we're launching a collegiate component that focuses on the creative workforce and the jobs that are in that space, that from behind the scenes to on the scene, I like to say. And so that's it in a kind of big nutshell.
Yeah, it's interesting because for a lot of schools, increasingly, when they have to cut their budget, they cut out music, art, and phys ed. And when you're cutting out music and art, you're cutting out a left brain person. You're not allowing people to fully develop and to find their calling. So what you're doing by bringing music to kids is just vital because the schools aren't doing it.
Absolutely. And here in Florida, I think it's a nationally known that the arts budget was significantly cut, has been for the last couple of years, and this year completely out. But it is very important to the human development. There's tons of
Yeah.
research to support that, and we continue to push forward and partner with our public schools, which is the districts have been very supportive and great partners, and also others in the community who are engaged with either faith-based organizations as well as the law enforcement have been very great partners. So, we're very blessed, and our local city government and county government have been very great partners because they understand also the value of just music and arts in general, and specifically what we are doing and the value that we bring to the community and have been for the past 12 years. I'm not sure we've gone on 13. So we're super excited about what we've been able to do and how I've been able to bring a piece of my experience and integrate it into and structure into curriculum and programming with our team to execute and to implement this to bring out the best in our students.
Yeah, no, it's really so important because most of the academic courses are individualized. Each person does it on their own, and when you have music in the school, kids have to learn to synchronize and to
Absolutely.
yeah, and they learn that there's something beyond themselves in concert with others, and that's being lost so much in our educational system. So the
Absolutely.
foundation that you're promoting is just wonderful. So I just want the people to know how can they become part of your foundation or donate to it? Can you tell people
Yeah.
about that?
They can right there on the website, arts, ARTS, conservatory for teens. That's FOR for teens.org. And or you could just Google Alex Harris, St. Petersburg, and you get a lot. Or say Alex, or Alex Harris Music in St. Petersburg or Foundation or something like that. If you forget the name, but it's artsconservatoryforteens.org. That's our website. My website is Alex Harris Official. That's OFFICIAL .com. So those two websites, you can find a lot more about me and what I'm doing, and in the community and on a national level as well.
Wonderful. There's so much I want to talk to you about, but time is fleeting by already. It's gone by so quickly. I just want to mention some of the people that you've been headlining with or working on the same stage. People
Yeah.
like Lionel Richie, Al Green, H.E.R, Alicia Keys, Brandy, Steve Cropper, the
Yeah.
Blues Brothers, Brandy. I mentioned that Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top,
Yep.
Bobby Rush, Eric Benet, John Legend, Kirk Franklin. I mean, I can go on and on. Lamman Rucker, Leon Roberts, and many others. And a lot of these names, are important in the sense that they all have are doing what you're doing in a way, and that
Right.
is, to be able to bring music that is not mainstream very much anymore because of urban radio. It's just taken over everything, and
Right.
it's hard to find channels that don't play hip hop.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
I think these people that you've been on stage with and work with are just important to keep that music alive and to keep moving it forward. And I think we're seeing a resurgence of jazz and a resurgence of soul music, a big resurgence. And I definitely see it in the UK, definitely.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
but I think it's happening here too. So, I wanted to spend time talking about that, but we've got to move on. I want to talk a little bit about Stax Records, and because I started talking to you about this before the show started. I just think that you are so much in that Stax tradition, and you work with Steve Cropper, who came out of sax, but this is staple singers, it's Otis Redding, Sam and Dave, Johnny Taylor, Bill Withers, and your music is right in that tradition. So I did this these Stax and these legendary vocalists, performers, did they have an impact on your career? Was Stax something you listened to or paid attention to a lot?
Growing up, as I said, we didn't get a chance to listen to anything outside of gospel, which is very interesting. I'll tell you something that's more unique and interesting is that often people would refer to me as little James Brown or little Michael Jackson, but the first time I actually saw a performance by either one of them, I was in college. So I think there's just something innate about, the particularly the African American experience, and coming from, the small town like Gary, Indiana, or coming from the South like James Brown Ray Charles or some of these other folks. However, when I started to become more educated on a more broader scale with music, in the genres and so on and so forth, there was something that I gravitated towards when it comes to Motown or Stax, especially folks like Johnny Taylor, you know, who's making love, yeah, and
Lady.
and also, Otis, like you said, sitting on the back of the bay, and so many other great writers and producers who were at Stack Records, and the whole band, some of the same musicians who played at High Records on Al Green stuff also played at Stack. I actually had a chance to meet great Charles, who played on Love and
Oh,
Happiness.
wow.
He and I worked together in a
That's
session
great.
in Memphis, and so it's just so many things that we can often relate to because of very similar experiences. And I think regardless if you are actually exposed to the music or the experience itself, because the music was birthed out of the experience. So I think in the shared experience, we were able to create and find out a lot of the similarity. And that's what I speak. That's what speaks to me, whether it was a participated experience or an observed experience. And what that means for those who want to say, what's the difference is I see something happen or I read of something happening, and I have this empathetic connection, right? I can feel the feelings of the one experiencing, or a participator where it's actually happened to me, or I was actively involved in it. So either way, I think the experience, and that's the reason why you can see people who are not African American, who also share experience, because it can be um, similar through more so observed experience. So I think that you kind of empathize with the person going through, or a group going through that. So that's the connection with me with Stacks. And as you said, it's almost like ironical. One of the things I learned later is that, oh my God, Otis and I share the same birthday. And interesting how
Yeah.
hearing the story of Otis' connection with Steve Cropper. His wife Angel Cropper shared with me once. She said, "Oh, well, actually, she shared it with my wife, and they met, and she was like, oh my God." She said, nowadays, Steve kind of like in semi-retirement. I know he just put out a record, but and she was like, oh, it's hard to even get him to like anybody, get out in the studio anymore. He's been doing that for years and traveled around the world a number of times. She said, but your husband, is what she told my wife, Emily, really, he loves Alex. And I told Steve, I said, uh, I said, Otis and I share the same birthday. He and Otis they grew to
Oh,
become
yeah.
very close. And he shared with me the story on how they met and the audition process. And because Steve was there, not only doing some producing and playing on a lot of the records with, you know, Booker T and all those guys on the records, but he also was the A&R, and he did the auditions during a specific time and era. So he would help with mixing the records. He would also audition and sign. And so the day that Otis, he shared with me that the day that Otis came, he thought he was valet. He saw him, but he didn't know he was there to audition. So he went back, in the mixing room or lab to finish mixing whatever record they were doing. The musicians were, taking down that finished recording, whatever they're working on. And the guy who sat out at the front desk, was like, asked the guy, Otis, what was he with the band? But he was there. He said, no, I came to audition. And he said, well, auditions are on Saturday. And this was like in the middle of the week. And he said, no. So he sat there. He said, after being there all day, the guy in the front desk, long story short, went there, said, Steve, would you please come out here? Listen to this guy. He won't leave. He said he here to audition. I told him this auditions are not until Saturday. And he said, well, if you got 5 minutes, can you come out here and listen to this guy? So he went out there and listened to that guy. And it was Otis, and he said, okay, what do you got? And Otis asked him, do you know any church chords? Steve said, well, he said he knew a couple of chords, and he played, a chord, and then he gave him the chord, the key, and then Otis said, these arms are mine. And he said they literally, the hair stood up on him, and he said he told all the musicians, wait, don't take down. So they recorded that song the day of his audition, and the rest is history.
Well, Otis's backing band were the Barkays, the Barkays, and Larry Dodson, Uncle Larry. When Otis unfortunately had a tragic accident, Larry Dodson became the lead singer for the Barkays.
Wow.
Yeah, and Larry told me this funny story. He was on the show, and he said the Barkays had 20 #2 hits on Billboard. And I said, "What about #1?" And he said, "Michael Jackson."
Wow.
Is that a great story?
That's a great story.
He said Michael Jackson. That's all he said. Anyway, let's move on to your next song. Because we're running out of time, so I want to get your music in here. The next song I want to play is "We Turn to Us." So let's play it, and then we'll talk about it a little bit afterwards. Okay?
Okay, sounds great.
Let me get my. Let's see. Here we go.
It took years of friendships, getting happy endings, to find out what was right in front of me. Was tired of pretending, learned heartbroken lessons. What meant to be will always be. Time takes its time, spark to a fire. Don't want to rush, making you mine. Strangers to friends, crushing to love. That's how life happens. We turn to us. Now we're sharing our t-shirts and the same front porch, sharing our hearts and same last name. Free will or fate is all worth the wait. Time takes its time, spark to a fire. Yeah, I don't wanna rush now, but making you mine. Strangers to friends, crushing to love. That's how life happens. Return to us. Even if we take the long way, I would do it all over again. If we come back around 100 lifetimes from now, I won't start as friends, I start well. I know this will end. Time takes its time, yeah. Spark to a fire, yeah. Don't wanna rush, no, making you mine. Strangers to friends, I know. Crush into love. That's how life happens. We turn to us. Oh, 1 and 1 is 2. 2 and 2, we can make 3. And I know that's what happens with you and me. Once upon a time, we didn't know each other. But I know, free will of fate, we are here today. I know that's how life happens. Oh, and I got you in my arms, baby. We turn to us.
That's a beautiful song.
Thank you.
We have some more comments from some of our listeners. Jeannie's back again. Beautiful song. And she's still really plugged into what you're doing.
Oh, thank you.
Here's Alex Becker, great arrangement. Do you do the arranging?
Yes.
You do all of it?
With others, yeah. I arrange pretty much all the vocals on my own, but I come up with the arrangements with other arrangers for the music part of it.
Do you have a music director?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Who are some of the people who play in your band?
Oh man, I work with really great musicians for this. Of course, we work with amazing monophonics, and Kelly was one of the producers on one of the songs, and the monophonics horns were on "Don't Hide," which you played a few minutes ago, and Kelly was part of producing those, as well as helping with arranging, recording engineer, and he's playing the organ on "Lose My Religion," which is on the record and done well. So it's really amazing, and super excited.
Yeah, I've had Kelly on the show, and Kelly's. I found the monophonics 15 years ago.
Wow.
I think it's even before Kelly even joined the monophonics.
Yes.
But I'm telling you, there's this affinity. If you go and listen to Felix Cavalieri, listen to his organ playing, his keyboard playing, and listen to his voice, I mean, it reminds me so much of Kelly. Kelly's such a gifted artist. He's amazing.
He's amazing, man. He has a new project out, really, really great. So
he
and I communicate regularly, especially on social media. Yeah, love what they're doing, and always I had a chance. We did a few shows together. Last fall. Yeah.
They started out doing psychedelic soul. It was really interesting stuff.
Absolutely.
Here's another comment from Angel Dalton. The rhythms and tempo allow me to think about the words, which has always been the beauty of soul music.
Yes. Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah. So, again, I want to talk to you about, but we're running out of time. So I wanted to talk about songwriting with you and production, but we have to move on to the next song.
Okay.
So let's move on to "Every Day Will Be Like a Holiday." Now, that's a cover which I didn't realize until you told me.
William Bell and Booker T.
Yeah. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about this and how this made it onto your recording?
Yeah, I put this out actually as a single. I wanted to do something for the holidays, and this one, but I wanted to kind of stay along the lines of what my theme of music is about. Love, hope. And every day will be like a holiday when my baby comes home, and it celebrates that togetherness, and even though they sometimes the struggles or the challenges that comes along with life, and but something when you have someone or someone's in your life, your family, and it just makes a difference. So that's what the song really is about, and that's the reason I chose it. And it's just a great song that William Bell and Booker T wrote. So it's really great.
Great. Well, let's listen to "Every Day Will Be Like a Holiday," okay, by Alex Harris.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've been missing you. I can't wait for you to get home. Every day, will be like a holiday. With my baby, when my baby comes home. Now she's been gone for such a long time. Ever since she's been gone, she's been on my mind. I got a text today, just about noon. She said,
great song, Alex.
Oh, thank you so much.
Here's a comment. What was this one? Monty O'Rourke. I remembers this song. Wow, Booker T lives. He remembers it. Wow. Yeah, this is one that escaped me. I didn't remember this song, but it's just wonderful.
It's a great song.
We're gonna have to wrap up.
People haven't recorded it.
Yeah, we're gonna have to wrap up. Unfortunately, I want to play one more of your songs. There's so much more I want to talk to you about, but the hour goes by so quickly. Yeah. So I want to play "I've Got Dreams to Remember," and this is a classic Otis song. So why don't you tell everybody? When I look at this selection of the songs that you chose for covers, why this one for this particular project?
I think because this one, I wanted to convey something that really, again, look at the redemption, right? And a lot of the songs we talk about loving, but then this one shows the love and the redemption. When in the second and in the bridge part of the song, he said, "I still want you to stay. I still love you anyway. So regardless, my love is not conditional; it's unconditional." And so I wanted to kind of bring that into the conversation, if you will, when we talk about the story of the album itself back to us. Redemption
Wonderful.
Is very important.
Absolutely, that's wonderful. Okay, let's play "I've Got Dreams to Remember" by Alex Harris.
I've got dreams to remember. Oh, I've got dreams to remember. Oh, honey, I saw you last night. Another man's arms holding you tight. Nobody know what I feel inside. All I know, I wanna walk away and cry. I got dreams, dreams to remember. Listen to me, baby. I got dreams, dreams to remember. I know you said he was just a friend, but I saw him kiss you again and again. These eyes of mine, they don't fool me. Why did he hold you so tenderly? I got dreams, yeah. Dreams to remember. I got dreams, yeah. I know. I still want you to stay. I still love you anyway. I don't want you to ever
That's wonderful. Yeah, you got some new fans here. Got some
Thank you.
more comments here.
Thank
Bobby Cleveland. Now you need to do I've Been Loving You Too Long.
you. For sure. I love that song.
Yeah. And here's another one. This is from Curtis Wycliffe. Well done, Alex. Taking on notice is no mean task.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it, Curtis.
Here's another one. Rob Curtis.
Yeah.
Beautifully done. Spelled wrong, but beautifully done.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your comments.
I think you made some new fans tonight.
I appreciate that. Just encourage everybody, follow me online. We got tour dates next in February. Like I said, Atlanta, Nashville, Chicago, Boston. I didn't name that earlier. So we're gonna be in a lot of cities throughout the country. Just follow me on my social media, Alex Harris Soul, SOUL, Alex Harris Soul, or you can visit me at the website Alex Harris Official, and my foundation, artsconservatoryforteens.org.
Wonderful. And do you have a newsletter or anything that you send out to?
Yeah. So we're gonna be sending that out, starting that up, actually back up, especially now that we got the record out and doing that's going to be starting up. So check back with me. I'll be announcing it on my social media platforms. It's going to launch, I think, next month. When we're going to be announcing the tour, we have a store we're going to be released online. I'll be sending out the newsletter. The goal is to have one every month, so we'll be able to stay up to date what's happening more when cities are added, and you'll be able to share it and learn a little bit about what I'm doing in my foundation through my website as well. So it'll be a lot of things. We have an initiative that during the tour we're going to be going to different schools, both high schools and colleges. So yeah, we're going to be doing a lot of that. So we're going to be pretty busy when we're doing the tour as well. And not just the night shows to have a good time and come out on your own, or bring a buddy or a date or a wife or a spouse or husband or whomever, a partner, but you'll be able to, some of our students will get a chance to be talking to them and doing some unplugged at the campuses, and really trying to bring and usher in more positivity in our communities throughout the country as we travel state to state.
Wonderful. Alex, it's been a real pleasure having you on the show again.
Thank you so much.
And there's still so much I want to explore with you, but we'll have to have you back again.
It's a good reason to keep coming back.
Yeah, when we'll get some new music out there. We'll definitely have you back. And
thank you so much.
Yeah, so it's been really a pleasure. I don't know what your schedule is like tonight, but if you want to hang out for a couple of minutes after the show, we can chat for a few minutes. Up to you.
Okay.
If you have time. But everybody say thank you to Alex, and Alex will be seeing you back again.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for listening.
Well, that was a great interview, and great vocalist, great song stylist. And so we won't have a show next week. Next week I'm taking a break, so there'll be no Power Hour next week. But if you come back in 2 weeks, we'll be back again with another wonderful guest. So make sure you come back and tune in, and we'll see you all in a couple of weeks from now. Everybody have a great weekend. Bye-bye. I'm Albin. I'm the host. I'm the founder of the Jazz Confusion Power Hour.
My name is Parson, and I'm honored to share my passion of music with you, our listening audience, through my cultural heritage.
Things can change for you too. If you want to be brand new, that is absolutely possible.